All right, Bear, let's get to our best bet. What is your best bet for the Sugar Bowl?
Well, I laid the 4 with Texas, and if you have access to the Circa book, they have it at 3.5. So maybe that's a sign this number may come down to 3.5. Washington, obviously, an underdog. They won beating Oregon a couple times this year as an underdog already, and done well on that role. I think Texas is the most complete team of the 4 remaining teams. I think with how they can beat you on offense and how good their defense is, especially on that front 7, I think they're the team that gives the opponent the most difficulty in preparing for, especially if now the receivers are healthy and Ewers is healthy.
Yeah.
Like if they can run at a single back 2 tight end this week, that opens up the entire offense for them, because that then means that Washington might have to play a little bit bigger up front to kind of stop that running game, which would leave those corners in man coverage against AD and Worthy, and that would be, I think, a mismatch. So I think that could be a problem. And I wonder. Look, I respect Oregon's defensive line. I just don't think Washington has faced a front that presents the problems that present. Thank you. If Sweat in that front can get the push up the middle on Penix, disrupt that timing, that throws that offense entirely off. So I like Texas in this game. I think they're going to win. And I think there's a little bit of out there that, why is Texas really in here? They're only in because Alabama won the SEC and they had to put Texas in. They're really not. I think there's still a little bit of that out there. And I think Texas is hearing that. I think they are highly, highly motivated to prove a lot of people wrong, and especially after last year losing that Alamo Bowl. I like Texas in this game. I have a feeling, obviously I know Will and you guys kind of disagree with me in the group chat about the way I'm thinking. It would surprise me if Washington won? No. But I think Texas is the best team remaining of these 4 teams.
I obviously do not like Washington at all, and I keep wagering against them, Bear, and they keep winning games. Like that's the hard part about wagering against Washington in this spot is they're getting 4 points. We all agree it's a shootout. In a shootout, I tend to think the game will be close in the end, right? I mean, it's not going to be a shootout and be a 10-point spread, right? I mean, it's a shootout, and 4 points feels like a good number in a shootout in either direction. The Texas defensive line will be very motivated in this game. Washington's offensive line won the Joe Moore Award, very deservingly so, which is the award that I'm part of. I'm very proud to be part of it. It's an honor to be part of the committee. It's the only award in the country that's given to an entire unit. It was presented to Washington after practice last week. It's a 300-pound trophy. It's really fabulous. But we come to find out, in the playoff game, the team that has the Joe Moore Award, the other defensive line, Bear, they bring it. Like, they want to show that.
Oklahoma won 1 year. Was it Oklahoma against Alabama 1 year?
It was Michigan the last 2 years. Alabama won in 2020 the championship, but it was Oklahoma 1 year, I think, against Georgia in that playoff game. And so, it will have Texas' most attention this game. Yeah, the new Heisman jinx. I hope not, because obviously for the award, it's best. I think I just not betting against Washington anymore. The ability for Rome Odunze and Michael Penix to connect, I think, is a big plus in this game. And they just win all these close games. I'm going to stay in this game for my best bet. We talked about this in the gambling group chat. It's the way I was leaning as well. The first half over 31.5, guys. Bear, these coaches, Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer, Washington, Sark at Texas, there are 2 of the best in the country designing an offense. And you give these guys a month to prepare against these defenses, which are not, the back end of Texas secondary, the whole entire of Washington second defense, which, look, Washington's defense numbers aren't good. They just make enough stops in the fourth quarter, which is not it's a thing, but not really a thing to quantify, honestly. But I think the first half of this game, you get the best of what both these teams could do on offense. It would not surprise me if this game was 21-21 at halftime, Bear. And then the second half, it grinded to a little bit of a halt, and you get, 35-33, right? The over hits overall. But so give me the first half over in this game, 31.5. 2 offensive geniuses designing offense, good quarterbacks, good offensive lines, good weapons. And I think there's a lot of points scored. It's a fast track in New Orleans. Will be Texas home game. A lot more Texas fans than Washington fans. But I think the over here is certainly in play for the first half.
Yeah, I think that certainly a higher scoring game. We talked about that in the pod. Whereas the Rose Bowl rather probably be along the a little bit more along the lower scoring. And so if you had to make a bet on, if you just wanted to bet like one of these teams to win the title, which at this point I wouldn't do because you're just better off with the rollover. So we're sitting here. We're sitting here a week from now. We're recording the championship game preview. What will the ultimate? What will the national title game be? What will the result be?
Well, I think it's Alabama-Washington, and Alabama wins. If you're asking me which team, to your point about Texas, is sort of like better equipped to win a championship, to me it's Texas. It doesn't mean that they win the game against Washington, but like if you were to tell me, okay, who matches up better with Alabama, it's Texas. But I think again, Washington on fast track inside, a month to prepare. They're healthier now. It wouldn't surprise me if they lost. And again, I'm an Oregon guy. I want Washington to lose. I'm not picking Washington because I want them to win. I just think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to lose to Alabama. So I have Alabama winning, which obviously will make the committee happy because they put them in there over Florida State, who is breaking up with ACC at the moment. A lot happening in the state of Florida with that right now.
Yeah.
So I have Alabama winning. I have Alabama winning this game, and Nick Saban. Look, this might be his best coaching job, Bear. I mean, look, you talked about that South Florida game after the Texas loss. It is kind of surprising how people wrote off Alabama. I'm not sure I was one of them, but I think I had in the back of my head like, oh, maybe the dynasty's done right now. But no surprise, right? Like you have a coach in Nick Saban who got his team better throughout the season. That's a sign of a good coach, right? And we know he's a great coach, but the team that is playing now looks nothing like the team that played in the first month of the season, which is what happens with a young team, a young quarterback. As you grow throughout the season, you're better and you're better and you're better and you're peaking. They're peaking right now at the best time.
Yeah, I think next week at this time I'm going to be saying Texas, Alabama round 2, and I think the result is the same. I think there's a lot of I think Texas is out to prove that game was not a fluke at all. So I think we're going to get Texas, Alabama too.
Bear Bets full episodes drop twice a week right here on the Bear Bets YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to stay ahead of the odds, and let's celebrate all of our wins together.